Well, six profiles go through three life phases. What we really experience is this three-phase life of up till about our Saturn return. So up until from birth until about 28 to 30, you're going to be more like what we would call a three line. The three line in human design is all about experimentation. So if you'll remember, the six said role model. 6-2 said role model slash hermit. So that six line is the role model. As a six line, you're meant to be a teacher. You're meant to impart your wisdom. People will look to you for your wisdom throughout life. You will be a teacher of some sort, not necessarily that you teach at a school or at a university, but you will be someone who is a guide, a teacher, an educator, in some way, shape, or form. But we don't start out that way necessarily, because in our first 28 to 30 years of life, we're really acting as a three line. And a three line is all about experimentation, trial and error, getting it wrong, falling down, getting up, trying again. Okay, so in that three phase, when we are an immature version of ourselves, we are trying all kinds of different stuff. We are experimenting with all the different ways that we get excited about things, and all the different ways that, our genius might show up in the world. Okay, when I was in high school, one of the things I actually had to um, take a step back because I was doing a lot. I played several different instruments. I mainly played flute. That was my main instrument, but I also took piano lessons. I played French horn. I took horseback riding lessons. I worked really hard. I was in a lot of AP classes in high school, and I worked a job. I worked at Cold Stone Creamery. It was my first W-2 job, really. Um, when I was in high school, I did a whole lot of stuff. And I wanted to do all of it well. I wanted to have all of it be perfect. And I was burning myself out like early, and my mom saw it happening. She noticed that I was really tired. I was staying up late doing homework, but also, doing all my other activities and band and marching band and um, all of these things. And she told me I had to drop a few things. I had to stop. I had to pull it back. I had to rein it in. So I did when I was in high school. And throughout college, it was kind of the same. I was always doing a lot of different things. And, um, sticking with music, I stayed with music for a long time, but I also loved finance. That's how I got into what I do now, was right after college. But I was doing all these things. And after college, I was also super interested in nutrition and exercise. And then I was really interested in cooking and making things from scratch. And then making things from scratch led me to want to have a garden and chickens, so that I could, have hens that laid eggs, and I could, make things from vegetables in my garden. And then I wanted to start knitting. I thought that sounded fun. And so I started learning everything about knitting. And then, of course, knitting meant, oh, now I want to know how yarn is made. So then I started spinning. And then when I started spinning, I was like, well, I wonder how they get it from sheep to fiber stage. And so then I bought like literally the fleece off of a sheep, to start processing that and spinning that. Right. So I've always been, I was doing all these things at the same time as well. I will mention that. I've always had all these different things going on while working out, cooking things from scratch, making friends, all of these different things, right? I was married as well. So my husband and I, we had dogs at the time. Um, and I always just was trying so many different things. And I was in a position that I was in for a long time, but even there, it was stable. I was doing a good job. I was the financial planning point person for a large practice. I was doing all the financial planning for a lot of different advisors. And I was like, I don't know, maybe I want to be a midwife when I grow up and help women have babies. Maybe I want to, do something totally different. I was just in this full on experimentation phase exploring, maybe more than experimentation, like exploring phase. And as I got into my late 20s, early 30s, that's where I really